Hello there. Welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft HardRock. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So we have a lot to do today. I've been doing a little bit of prep work. We need to make this thermal evaporation controller in the blocks. It's a multi-block. I have to go double check how big it has to be. But I think the size is a 3x3x4. Again, I'll double check and I'll let you know after I do. But we need this in order to make something. I honestly forget what we need it for, but I know we need it for the fusion reactor. Thankfully, it's not too bad. The thermal evaporation blocks are just copper, glue, and steel. And let's see if it's a 3x3x4 with a hollow center, I believe, which means we need 9 plus 8 and 8 and 8 for 33 blocks. I think we need to make. You get 3 per craft, and we need to turn one of them into a controller and 2 of them into valves. The controller takes 5, the valves take 4 each, so we need 33 minus 3, that's 30, plus 4 plus 4, that's 38, plus 5, that's 43. We need 43 of these blocks in total. You get 3 per craft. We need to make a lot of crafts. So that is quite a bit of steel, but that's not too bad. We also need to go get our hands on some blackstone. I believe we can find it natively in the nether, but we can also get it by finding some gilded blackstone and grinding that down. Now, it just so happens in the nether, there is a piglin fortress or bastion right next to where we spawned. So I'm going to go into the nether. We're going to first recharge our andesite jetpack so I can get out of there quickly if I need to. And then we're going to go check out the nether fortress. Or not fortress. I keep saying it wrong. The bastion. Alright, we got ourselves the bastion I mentioned. I see some of the gilded blackstone and other blackstone over there that we can grab. There are also chests here. I have no clue what's going to be in them. Ancient debris. Gold. You know what? Take the magma cubes also, creams also, because we could use those. Are you going to get mad at me? No. Okay. We can take this, though. I'll take the free light source. I think this blackstone should be fine too, shouldn't it? Okay, so aside from grabbing some gilded blackstone and some blackstone, we don't really need anything from the nether today. We'll absolutely take all these, though. And chest says, ooh, plenty of obsidian. And soul speed book. So this obsidian is going to be nice because we do need to make a bit more of the powdered obsidian. So we can make like the tough casings or the train casings and whatnot. That should be all I need. Let's see. Is there anything else I see that I want to grab? I tell you, being able to fly helps. You know, if I keep collecting these lanterns, I'm not going to have to worry about using actual energy to power the lights in our base. I'll just have all these lanterns everywhere. Seems a little cheaty, to be honest. Mission accomplished. We got our blackstone. Let's get out of here. That's the lava I've been stealing from to power my jetpack. I should install a roof. Not a roof. A roof access hatch. I now have everything to make the UV box. So we do these 3 times. Unfortunately, they only go in one at a time because the solar panels don't stack because they it's because they can hold a charge, and so yeah, they don't stack. All right, so that's our redstone lamps, and then our UV box, and now. Okay, so the longer it's exposed, the more successful, the higher the chance of success, but it takes longer to reach the next stage. It says max pressure of 5 bar. I don't know if it actually takes pressure because the etching table and the thermal-pneumatic processor both had a pressure to them. Okay, this does look like it actually takes pressure. Let's grab one of our PCBs just to check. Yeah, okay, so it's gonna take pressure. That's fine. Can pick that up. And can we place it right there? Yeah. Ooh, that's bright. Can I stack them? No. Okay, and here actually says what the etch success chance is. So you can set the threshold. 100% means it'll always succeed. Obviously, you drop it down to like 50% or 40%. Then when it hits that, it'll output. I'm gonna leave it at 100%. So we're not wasting time. And gonna leave that running. Meanwhile, I took all those lanterns we just got from the nether, and I spread them around judiciously around our base. So it's not gonna be dark anymore. And forgive the hitching, I need to restart the game. I've been playing for a few hours. Okay, so I just did a little digging. The thermal evaporation block is needed to make brine or lithium. I thought I needed lithium, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need it. At least not right now. Liquid deuterium. Yeah, so I don't need that. But what about brine? It's probably not the same brine that we make with TerraFirmaCraft brine. Yeah. Okay, so mechanism brine. That's made in the thermal evaporator. And this brine, sodium plus fissile fuel, right? Sodium we can use as a coolant. It's a more efficient coolant than water. I don't know if I need the thermal evaporation chamber. Yeah, on second checking, it looks like I will not need the thermal evaporation chamber unless I'm building the fusion reactor. And for that, I'm going to need a lithium. Or I'm going to need a lithium from that. But we can also use TerraFirmaCraft brine to make lithium. We would still need the chamber, but yeah. But we don't need this for now, so I'm just going to remove that from the list so I don't have to see it anymore. So next, I guess we can get started on these fusion blocks, which is going to require a lot of lead. I don't think I have a lead set up yet, although I do have a lead chunk right there. I know there was some lead on the ground. Yeah, there. So I might go mine that and or set up. I have 6 of these create drill setups around my base at this point. And I just keep adding more. And our empty PCBs are fully exposed, so we can now put them in here, I believe. Yep, and now they will etch. Yeah, if we gave it heat, the etching acid would slowly get consumed. But since we're not, we just leave it in, and these should all etch, and since they're set to 100%, we don't have to worry about them breaking on us. Who wants to see the mechanism rabbit hole? We need to make fissile fuel, which I have somewhere. Here it is. We make the fissile fuel in an isotropic centrifuge. So we need to make it one of those. And we put uranium hexafluoride into the isotopic centrifuge to make the fissile fuel. So we need uranium hexafluoride, which we get from a chemical infuser, which is infusing hydrofluoric acid with uranium oxide. We get uranium oxide by using the chemical oxidizer on yellow cake uranium. We get yellow cake uranium by enriching uranium ingots. And we get uranium ingots by smelting uranium powder, dust, nuggets, all that in an arc furnace. So we need an oxidizer. We need a chemical infuser. We need a isotropic centrifuge. To make hydrofluoric acid, we need a chemical dissolution chamber in combining sulfuric acid with fluoride. Sulfuric acid we get by combining water vapor and sulfur tetraoxide. We get the water vapor by taking water in a the rotary condensator and setting it to decondentrate. So I'll turn water into vapor. The sulfur trioxide we get by combining sulfur dioxide and oxygen in a chemical infuser. The sulfur dioxide we get by taking sulfur in a chemical oxidizer and oxidizing it. So we need a isotropic centrifuge, 1, 2, 3 chemical infusers, 2 chemical oxidizers, 1 enrichment chamber to turn the uranium ingots into yellow cake uranium, 1 rotary condensator, yeah, that's what it was, and an electrolytic separator. And that's just to make the fissile fuel to get the reactor to run. We still gotta make the reactor. Thankfully, all this information is on the mechanism wiki. I'll try to remember to include a link in the description. The small size reactor we can make is a 3 by 4 by 4. Yes. Or is it 3 by 3 by 4? Okay, it's 3 by 3 on the XY axis. Okay, you know, Minecraft is weird. 3 this way, 3 this way, 4 that way. So the smallest you make is a 3 by 3 by 4. We're gonna go for 5 by 5 by 5. I need to make more food. Just eating a whole ham chunk right now. There we go. So we're going to make a 5 by 5 by 5. The 3 by 3 is, of course, a lot cheaper, but it's very inefficient fuel-wise. Although we do kind of need to be inefficient to burn through the fuel faster so we can make the polonium. I might just go to 3 by 3 by 4 just so we get it done quicker and make the rest of the blocks so we can upgrade to a 5 by 5 in the future. I might do that. Okay. And that also means I could probably get it done before the end of today. Because if I wanted to make the 5 by 5 by 5, and I've got a spreadsheet, so give me a sec. To make the 5 by 5 by 5, I would need to make 86 of the reactor frames. That's these blocks here. Or reactor casings. And 9 reactor glass. You don't need to make reactor glass. Reactor glass is interchangeable with the reactor casings on the side faces. So again, like how the glass here works on the pneumatic chamber. I could put the glass on any of these flat sides. You can do the same with the reactor. Save the top. The top has to be something different. But the glass is more expensive, believe it or not. Well, at least in lead. It's quartz and lead, and it's 5 ingots of lead per reactor glass, whereas the casing is 4 lead per reactor casing. And I don't have a very strong supply of lead. I did set up another one of these crate drills over here collecting lead, but that's only one source of lead, and that location only has 4,000 deposits in it. And I think every time I don't know if that's every time it mines or every time it pulls something out, because sometimes you'll get 2-3 items come out. I don't know if that counts down as all 3. I haven't watched to find out. Since that's the case, I don't have a lot of lead to go with, so I want to try to preserve lead as much as possible. But that means we gotta make a bunch of casings, so yeah, that's a whole thing. Then we're gonna need 2 reactor ports. Thankfully you get 2 per craft. And we don't need a logic, but it's not bad to have a logic, because then you can set it to emergency shutdown so you don't have a meltdown. Anyway, then we need 15 of these assemblies. These are what actually holds the fissile fuel in the reactor. They're control rods. And then we need 5 control rod assemblies. And these are expensive because each of these basic tanks is 8 ingots of red steel. You know what? I'm definitely doing the 3x3x4, because then I only need 2 assemblies and 1 control rod assembly. Yeah, okay. I know what we're doing now, and we're gonna do it over here, just a little ways away from the base, right on the river. And if I ever actually go about building structures, we can make this look like a nuclear reactor on the river next to the water mill that I still haven't actually built walls for. I'm not very good at building this season, if you haven't noticed. Okay, you're up to date on what I'm planning. I need to go process a lot more lead. I did not have any more in there. I gotta go get lead. This jetpack makes it so much quicker and easier to do this. Oh, here, let's find out. So, 4,088. Okay, that definitely just dropped multiple items. So it's every time the drill cycles, it uses up one of the resources. Now we at least have a source of lead. There is a lead deposit right over here too. I was mining that before I set this up, but when I saw that we had this available, yeah, this is much quicker than mining the lead one at a time. Oh, by the way, if you hold space, if you hold shift, you hover. So you can hover your way down and not smack the ground hard every single time, if you actually remember to do it, which I don't. All right, and that's just for the reactor. We also have to make the turbine housing. I haven't even looked into that yet. That's gonna wait. But I'm gonna work on processing this down, and I'll bring you back when we made progress. Although I do want to say quickly, hopper into the top of a crucible, and then the omnidirectional hopper pulling out of the casting table makes this process much quicker. I take that back. The PCBs are done, so we can actually jump onto this next part. And I'm going to do this the brute force way, but we're going to toss all of these into the pressure chamber, forgot what it was called, to make the last 3 capacitors we need and the 8 transistors we need. And it doesn't take much pressure to do it. And then after that's done, we can craft them together to make the finished PCBs. There we go. They're done. Now, I did make 9 of these unassembled PCBs because I was going to do more of these crafts, the assembly bits. But actually, I need one of those over here. Slight change of plan, but we will be using those eventually. So now for these assemblers, we need an import and an output IO. That's just changing the direction of the hopper, and you can swap it in the crafting grid. So we'll just craft 2 of whatever one I've got shaped right now. What is it? The import one. We need 1 laser drill. That's going to require red glass. I need to make red dye for the red glass. And then we're also making the assembly platform. I need a bit more plastic for that. And yep, I just need to make hoppers. That's what this is for. All right, that's 2 hoppers. We can put these here. That's the assembly platform. I have never used these from PneumaticCraft, so I might make a few mistakes with them. Let's place these down for a second. Grab our double sheets. Put those in there. Make 2. Then we can go over here, pop 1 in, and swap it to an export. Those can go over here. Yeah, maybe that's facing the right way. I don't know. And I need to make red dye. And 1 red stained glass later, we now have the assembly laser. Okay, so it has to be directly adjacent to it, probably like everything else. Next question. What does this say? Holds items in place. What did we need it for? We needed it for the advanced? No. The construction, which requires a basic, which requires plastic, a raw, which requires iron. So we're still a little bit ways from making those. But now we have this done, although I'm sure this requires power or something. So I'm gonna have to research this because I have no idea how the lasers work. Meanwhile, we actually have light up here now too, so I can see up here at night. How nice. Oh, and well, that's a graphical glitch because it didn't look like that before. But now we have all of these hooked up through a basic universal cable, which is getting power from the create setup. So you only need 1 wire now instead of 1 for each. I need an assembly controller, don't I? Yeah, this would probably be why I can't figure out how the how this stuff works. I need this to work as a computer to tell it how to work. Okay, well, it's a good thing I made the extra PCBs. I do have to go make up more transistors and capacitors. And I think I need to make up a little more compressed iron. And it's winter again. Which means I have to... means I gotta deal with snow drifts again. Oh well. We're gonna have the... Oh, they're ready. The improved... Raw improved are done, so now I have to... get some gold wire, redstone, and a bunch more plastic. Meanwhile, the controller's done. We needed that. Let's toss that in there. These improved processors will go towards this, which is the crafter. And also these, which are the grids. And once the grids are done, I'll be able to combine those into the portable grid, which all goes into the NASA workbench wherever it is on this hotbar. There it is. So yeah, the crafters go there, 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 and there, and the portable grid goes there. And then we'll just have the reactor. Oh, and the disk manipulator I still gotta make. Okay, I've got a little more work to do on that stuff, but we're getting there. Alright, let's make this controller. Let's grab our assembly program. This does need power. Okay. So this takes pressure too. And I'm going to need to move it because I don't have more tubes, do I? I have one. Hardly enough for this, but we can rearrange this a little bit, I think. Take that out. I don't want to risk that getting deleted when I pick it up. Alright, so we need to put the wire in, followed by the redstone on this. And then press. And that's our basic processor. But we want to turn these into the construction core. Yes. Okay. So how do we do this? It says it needs a drill, but this recipe doesn't show a drill. Okay. Not all machines the insert program are present. Okay. Okay. This one... Did I buy the wrong one? Controller, I need just the one with the laser, not the one with the... That's the drill and the laser. That's the laser. I need that. Okay, so that's got the drill and everything. Now what's the problem? Not all machines are present. Well, I just changed it, so... Okay, let's try this quickly. Okay, now it says there's no problem. Ah, there we go. Oh wow, is it running slow?
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alright, there we go. We got our first construction core. It's gonna make another one for me. But okay, now at least I know how this works. And if you already knew ahead of time, you're better off than I was. Still haven't made much progress with the reactor. I'm still processing my way through the lead. But I've been working on the... What are these? The refined storage stuff. The grid, the controller. And we're just about ready to add them to our big old wall back there. So we needed 4 of these crafters. And that took 4 quartz-enriched iron, 1 machine casing, 2 advanced processors. These were the easy one using the diamond grit. The construction controller, which we just made, and the destruction controller, which is done the exact same way, but using the improved processor, which is one that uses the gold. So we needed 4 of those. And yeah, that allows us to autocraft. The disk manipulator, which allows you to store the storage disks. And this is how you refine storage. Refined storage, it's a simpler version of applied energistics. That's the best way to describe it. Closer to AE1, I believe, as opposed to AE2. And you make this again with the machine casing, the quartz, the destruction and construction core, and storage housings. The storage housings are also pretty cheap. Quartz-enriched iron, redstone, and the stainless glass. And what you do with these is you combine them with storage parts, which turn them essentially into hard drives, which allows you to store your items digitally. Once you make the disk manipulator, you can add storage housings made into disks into it, and that's how you store your digital items instead of having them in a bunch of chests in a room in a random corner of your base. And last, we need to make 2 grids. And the grid is how you would access it. Can I place one down for a moment? Obviously, there's no power to it. There's nothing in it. You can't see it. This is how you would access any items stored in your system. You can also make a crafting grid version, which will have a nice big crafting grid available to it that you can drag items directly out of the storage section and into the crafting grid. And you can auto deposit them back in. But we need to take one of these grids, an advanced processor, and a bucket to turn into a fluid grid. And that does consume the bucket, so I now need to make a new bucket. But the fluid grid allows you to do the same thing as the storage grid, but with fluids. And you would need a fluid drive instead of a normal drive, but this way you can store fluids in your storage system as well. So now I need to combine the fluid grid, the regular grid, the controller into a portable grid. I've never used the portable grid. Ah, okay, never mind. It works like the okay, the portable grid is a wireless grid. Got it. Okay, so that's that. Now if we run back over to this wall here, I need to find how it goes in. Portable grid goes in the dead center. The crafters go on those spots there. And the disk manipulator goes on the bottom. There we go. All we have left now are the fusion reactor frames, which I have not made yet, because I cannot make them yet. And the program controller, which we can make. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll take a drone, although a drone's not that bad to make either. Okay, well, that's actually fairly doable. Oh, and then we need to make additional drill, laser drill. And those go up there. So 2 more lasers and 2 more drills. Just like how we made this laser earlier. So I just edited all the videos so far, and we're already at 30 minutes, and I haven't even gotten started on the reactor. So that's not going to be a today thing. We did figure out how this works, which is good. And it's simpler than I thought it was. It just needs the compressed air from the pneumatic system. And then everything else runs, and none of these other parts need to be hooked up to air. They just need to be touching the assembly platform. I am curious how it would work if we had a laser and a drill. I imagine we could put the exporters and importers on the corners where I've got the chests, and that might work. Anyway, so that's done. As for the actual reactor casings, I need a lot more iron. I have a lot more processing. That's what I have there. I have another nearly 100 ingots right there. And we have enough lead now to make all of the frames, and I'm going to make, so I mentioned I'm going to do the 3x3x4. That's 3 wide on both axes and 4 high. I'm going to use the glass wherever I can, because while the glass is more expensive lead-wise, it is much cheaper casing-wise. I don't need to make machine casings, which take 8 ingots of iron, and then I don't need to make the steel casings, which is another 4 ingots of steel. 12 ingots of iron per casing, and I would need 29 casings. That's more iron than I want to be making up right now. I do have all of the train casings that we do need to make the machine casings done. And then I gotta go make some more red steel so I can make some of these basic chemical tanks for the fission fuel assembly. So yeah, I've got a fair bit more to do, but I'll definitely have the reactor up next episode, and because I'm gonna have a week to work on it, I should also be able to get the turbine up and running. So we should have the full power system, well, the full reactor up and running. But I gotta make all the mechanism parts, that whole rabbit hole I went through earlier, in order to make the fissile fuel. I should be able to do all of that. So, assuming I can get all that done and have it all set up, we are going to want to have the reactor and the turbine inside the same chunk. They don't have to be in the same chunk, but you don't want the chunks unloading. So what you would either do is go claim the chunks and then force load them, like what I've been doing with my water wheel here, and if I can't go over to it, but where I've got all the different crate drills set up, those are all force loaded also, so I can put fuel in them, walk away for 20 minutes and come back and collect the resources. So we would either have to force load the chunks or make sure they're all in the same chunk. And since the reactor is going to start as a 3x3 footprint, and if we upgrade to a 5x5, it would still fit in the one chunk, I lost my train of thought because I had to stop talking because my neighbor's Mustang is so loud you could hear rumbling through my microphone. Fun. Right, the footprint to the reactor is small enough that if we use the 3x3 or the 5x5, we can fit it in the same chunk as the turbine. So that's what we're going to do. It's all going to be in this one chunk here. And we can also fit all the fuel in this one chunk also. So that is going to be the future plan. You know what? I might as well just claim it now. And so, yeah, this chunk here will be our nuclear plant eventually. But yeah, the reactor will wait till next time. And then maybe we'll actually look at building a building for it. And a building for this building. And finish that building. But no promises. Until then, thank you for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. Later.